Hello, I'm Keisha, and welcome to the Keisha Phillips Show. I try to not have to put emphasis on credentials, experience, qualifications. But when I decided to do the Keisha Phillips Show, I had decided that I wasn't going to focus on one particular topic, that I wasn't going to have a niche, because there's so many things that's going on in today's world that I didn't want to put emphasis on one particular subject when you have so many things going on in today's society. So I decided to put my focus more on everyday life challenges and the things that we are going through daily, the things that we need to focus on, and the things that needs to change. Yes, I can talk about sports. I have a master's degree in exercise psychology. I am specializing in strength and conditioning, tactical and conditioning training. So I can put emphasis on sports if I just want to talk about sports. But do I want to just talk about sports? No, I don't. But yet I am a advanced fitness trainer. I talk about nutrition because I'm a nutritionist. But do I want to just talk about just nutrition? No. I'm licensed as a pharmacy technician, so I can talk about things that's going on in the medical industry and things like that. But do I want that to be the center of my focus? No. I have a bachelor's in computer science. Do I want to just talk about? No, I don't. So there is a wide variety of things that I can talk about. But do I want to just focus on one thing? No, because the things that's going on in today's world is a wide range of things. It's not just one focus. I could talk about the substantial global goals because that's what things that are focusing what globally. No, I'm no expert, and I've never indicated to be one. But what I am is knowledgeable. What I am is educated. What I am is an African American black woman that knows a lot about the things that's going on in this society, this nation. I am very educated and knowledgeable when it comes to that. What I ain't gonna do is make no apologies because of the fact that what I am. I'm not gonna make no apologies because I can talk about a wide variety of things. So no, I'm not going to make no apologies for being able to do the things that I can do because I am educated and qualified and capable of doing it. But do I want to sit and talk about politics all day? No, I don't. But at some point, we're going to talk about it. At some point, it is going to be the focus of the conversation, my conversation. Because we're in the what? We're in that process, in that element of the 2024 presidential election. That's fact. That's reality. That's real. And the next president that's going to be in office, that's going to run this country, it makes a difference. So when I find and I see that the center of their focus on one particular candidate bashing and another candidate, for what? There's a far more greater picture, a far more greater achievement than to be what? Being critical of a person. Because even as the president, even he got flaws and weaknesses and shortcomings. He's not perfect. He's still gonna have to answer for that $98 billion that he just sent over there to Ukraine. But nobody is elaborating on that. Are we? So as I go into today's episode, it's not even a continuation from my earlier episode, because I'm moving forward. One thing that I'm not going to do is put emphasis on things that we don't need to be putting emphasis on. Because when are we going to come together as a whole? And the way I look at it, we may not never come together as a whole. Because I endorse Donald Trump. But do that mean that I approve of the things that Donald Trump has done? No. But that does not mean that he would not make a what? A great president. It doesn't mean that you should not vote for him again to be in office again. It doesn't mean that. Going into the substantial development goals, we're at number 7. And that goal is to ensure that everyone has access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy by 2030. When you think about these goals, they have 3 main focus. Focus number 1 is that these goals have been set to be achieved and accomplished by the year 2030. When you think about that, and you think about that these goals were created in 2015, and when we look at where we are today, when you start thinking about the universal access, renewable energy, and clean energy sources, and you think about where we are today, we are now no closer today than what we were in 2015. Quote unquote, they say access to energy is important for economic development, poverty alleviation, and people's well-being. It's also essential for the development of agriculture, business, communications, education, healthcare, and transportation. When you think about that, that's true. But the truth on that is we're in 2024. And what have we really did to get closer to achieving this particular goal? We haven't. You know, yeah, we can always keep our lights off to be conservative. Turn off your air conditioning when you're sleeping. Use rechargeable electronics. But do that mean everybody's supposed to go run out there and go buy a electric car? I mean, I'm just asking. Because when you start thinking about some of these goals and you start trying to focus on the things that they're centering the goals on, a lot of things are being centered around your sexuality, your preference, your gender, equality, your same-sex relationships and marriages. And when I think about that, the first thing that I ask myself is any of that getting us any closer to achieving these goals? It's not. So why is it centered around some of these things? Goal number 8 is to promote decent work, economic growth, and employment for all. What defines decent work? Well, how would you relate to economic growth, employment? The goal is to achieve full and productive employment for all by 2030. And in order to do that, you would have to create, according to the statistics, 600 million new jobs to keep pace with the growing working age population. Think about that for a second. But they're saying that is going to take 6 years in order to have productive employment for everyone. Goal number 8, it promotes sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth. Decent work. What's decent work for all? I really would like to understand that. What is decent work? What would define decent work? And how do you think they're going to achieve such a goal when they're trying to come out with these robots? And when these robots come out, that means these same things are going to be downsizing, because it's going to affect jobs. It's going to be jobs that's no longer going to be available, or jobs that's not going to even need quality workers, because the robots are going to replace everything. Robots is going to be running your fast food places if they're lucky to still be open. It's going to be robots that's going to be working in these warehouses, doing your production and all these things that people are doing today when it comes down to the warehouse work, your fulfillment. Robots is going to be answering the phones, taking the orders, fixing the food, doing it all. So how, in God's name, are 600 million more jobs for everyone so everybody can have a decent living in 6 years? It's not going to happen. Because why? Like I said, they're already downsizing. They're already you got companies right now that's trying to replace workers with robots. That's going to cut jobs right there. That's going to cut economic growth. That's going to cut opportunity. When you go into sustainable development goal number 9, and they say its focuses on industry, innovation, and infrastructure. The goal's objectives is to build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industration, and foster innovation. How are we gonna get to that? How can we get from one goal to the next goal if we can't accomplish and achieve that goal? When you start going back through the goals and you start back with 1. Goal number 1. No poverty. Goal number 2. Zero hunger. Goal number 3. Good health and well-being. When you start talking about good health and well-being, you think about the Obama Act. But then you got the Obama Act that came into office, and what did Biden do when he got into office when it came down to the Obama Act? He pretty much contradicted everything that former President Obama did. So then when you start talking about quality education, you start talking about gender equality, and the one thing that they did with quality education, they started developing all these charter schools. Then you start talking about gender equality. When you look up now, you see more emphasis on gender equality than anything. You have people that's in same-sex marriages and relationships and things like that, that want to basically impose their lifestyle and their choices upon everybody. Agree or disagree. I respect people's choices, I do. But nobody should have to be forced into accepting a person's choice when it comes down to their preference and sexuality. I try not to go into a lot emphasis on that, because when you go into the biblical standpoint, God created man and woman. God did not create same-sex relationships, same-sex marriage. If you go into it from a biblical standpoint, then that is a what? A sin. And I don't want to discuss people's sins. I don't want to discuss people's beliefs, people's choices. So I try not to go into religion beliefs, try not to go into the things. But when you starting to talk about truth, what does it say in the Bible when it comes down to what? Okay. The goal number 6 is clean water and sanitation. And then I think about what's going on in Mexico, how they been in Mexico, certain parts of Mexico, and they didn't have water. You know, how do you live in a part of a country and they don't have water and nobody hasn't done anything about it to fix that problem? Then you think about goal number 7, affordable and clean energy. Goal number 8 is decent work and economic growth. And then goal number 9 is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. That's goal number 1 through 9. And we're no closer to achieving those goals today than what we were in 2015, and they sat down and they decided to create the substantial goals. Good or bad? That's not good. How can it be good? Look at the things that's going on around in our nation. Look at that. Think about that. When you start thinking about that, then it takes me back to your current election. It also takes me back to, you have your Democratic Party. Democratic beliefs. When you are, because people need to know what they are voting for. The Democratic focus on energy, climate, identity group, minority rights, political opponents. Then you have your Republican. They are focusing on your constitutional, government, your freedom, family, faith, security, and military. And then you have both parties. They focus on your economy and your jobs, your education, and healthcare. Okay, but then that's just your Democrats and your Republicans. Now, yes, it also goes a little bit more in depth than that. But when you start thinking about it, okay, you got to think about the reality, okay? Then you have to think about that you also have the independent party. I know people that goes independent. They're not Republican and they're not Democrat. They're independent. I know people that are. So I know that that do exist. I know that you do have people that believe in that stance. And basically, they believe that there's no stance on social issues, freedom, strong economic stronger economy, lower taxes. Your Republicans are more conservative, more family-centered. Your government has no say in your wage. But then you got the Democrats that are liberal, strong view on equality, stands up for working class. And then they want to tax you according to income. So you got the good, you got the bad, you got the not so good. So when you think about Republicans, you go into more of tradition and equality. They pro-life. And then your Democrats are more higher taxes on the wealthy. Then they are in favor of gun control. They want the government to be all in your business. But then you go back to your independence. So when you go back to your independence, you're going all the way back to former President George Washington. You know, so when you start thinking about that, then you realize what you're really up against. Now, while you got the Democrat and the Republican going head to head, people don't forget that you do have an independent candidate that is running for president of the United States. So I don't know just how much people are paying attention to what's going on politically in politics, but it's there. It's happening. Don't know what games that people are playing, but this presidential election is going to happen. And every day is a new day, and every day we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer. So instead of being on TikTok, maybe you need to stay off of social media and focus on what's in front of you. Because this upcoming presidential election is extremely important. I mean, right now I can go into the White House and be president and take care of the things that needs to be taken care of. And we'll come out, and the nation in this country will come out better than any one of them that's running between your independent, your Democrat, or the Republican. And at the end of the day, I'm Democrat. I'm a Democrat. But when you start talking about politics and you start talking things from a political standpoint, this is where we are. This is where we are. There is no in-betweens. This is where we are. When you talk about the things that needs to change in this economy, in this nation today, it's widespread. It's not just in the 50 states that make up the United States of America, but it's your surrounding countries as well. Your government body is not a game. And people need to stop treating things as such, because you're talking about the future of this nation. The future of just this country. When we're speaking about the United States of America, not just the substantial goals, because those goals been set there since 2015. And we're no closer today in 2024 than when they was when they sat down at that table and they put all that out there. We ain't now one step closer to achieving these goals. World hunger is worse today than what it was in 2015. Poverty is worse today than what it was in 2015. Everything is worse today than what it was. This nation, this country is going down. It's sinking daily, daily, daily. That's why you have so many, look at your Gulf of Mexico. Look at the sea level rises. All it's going to take is the one storm to come through here, and everything is going to be underwater. I've said it and I say it again. The day that I see the Statue of Liberty underwater, then I know it's over. So if we don't come together as a people, and that's not just as in the United States of America, we're talking about global. People don't realize or don't remember that COVID was a global pandemic. A pandemic that began in China. It didn't just stay in China. It went everywhere. Everybody got affected. Everybody was affected by that pandemic. And you're talking about something that you can't even see. But yet it will kill you in a second. And you can't even see it. But people dying from it every day. Every day. So where is the change going to come in at? When is people going to start realizing that the change is now? What are we waiting for? How long are we going to continue to wait? Till it's too late. It's already too late. It's already, honestly, too late. All we doing now is trying to fix things that should have already been fixed. But yet they're not fixing anything. They're not fixing anything. Yes, I get frustrated. I get frustrated because I think about the reality of what's going on across the globe, and I know the importance of the things that's going on across the globe and how important it is that things need to change, but nothing is changing. But I am but one person, one human being that makes up this world, that's part of this world. And the change that I'm speaking of, we got 7.5 billion people, maybe 6 billion. When you start talking about people that has died and things like that. And yet nothing is changing. We got all these people that make up this earth. But yet they have not been strong enough to put the changes in place with the things that needs to change. We have people that's out there that's billionaires. And yet things in this country, in this nation, is still being pulled down. Sinking. So when are we going to take a stand? When is the change going to actually take place? Because right now, I don't see it. All I see is a sinking ships. Like the submarines that's up on the water. And what good is that doing us? When you got submarines that can be in the water and go undetected. Loopholes? How would you define it? How would you define it? We're sinking, America. I'm Keisha. And you've been listening to the Keisha Phillips Show.